All right. Kick it off with a little recognition. First call of March. So let's do the February Success Club. So we got the coaches that hit Success Club 10 in February. We have Tiffany Marin, Spring Vander here, Randy Kruger, Rachel Moran, Rachel Falda, Paige Hines, Marie Sardelli, Kyla Johnson, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt. I just talked to Carrie's husband, Craig, today. They're up in Michigan. They just had their first baby a couple months ago. It was good catching up with them. They've been crushing it. They hit elite last year, which was awesome. And this year they're really focused on volume and creating that income for their new little family, which is really cool to get to chat with him about. Then we got Jennifer Grooms, Elizabeth Koning, Deborah Flores, Kristen McLeod, Audra Russo, Amy Ecker, Allison Graham, Sydney White, Leanna Viscerando, Lindsay Elena, Kim Roberts, Kelly Marks, Aaron Campman, Cassie Jackson, Kelsey Connor, Sarah Loving, Kate Schultz, Cassandra Steelman, Emily Hollister, Brooke Reed at 16, Megan Jones, Caitlin Tefft, and Destiny Melendez. And then at Success Club 20, Ashley Feldyson and Sydney Thompson. At 34, Michelle Cahill. And at Success Club 50 last month, Bailey Glanzer, Coach of the Week, who hit Success Club 16, Kate Tefft, who's on the call with us today. And then one more recognition real quick here. If I can find it. So we have team cycles. So the coaches that cycled 3 times last week, we got Caroline Nathan, Second Business Center, Eric Connor, Kylie Winay, Lauren Letary, Peyton Jackal, Kate McGinty, Carrie Steelman, Second Business Center, Marie Ottaway, Second Business Center, Sean Wortham, Teresa Neitlinger, Catherine Heisen, Jennifer Smith with 5 cycles, Kelly Marks, Corey O'Laughlin, Melissa Weber, Rachel Falda, Sue Sardelli, and Sydney Thompson, Second Business Center with 6 cycles, Nick Waltz, Tiffany Marin, Heather Green, 7 cycles, Lauren Bauman and Lauren Kellum, 8 cycles, Amy Eckert, Second Business Center, Susie Bell, Craig Schmidt, Christina Tropiano, and Danielle Ream with 9 cycles, Robert Rodriguez with 10 cycles, Michelle Katz, Kelsey Connor, Kim Roberts, Kate Schultz, Second Business Center, Kate Tefft with 11, Caroline Nathan with 12, Lindsay Elena with 12, Bailey Glanzer with 12, Terry Bachlet with 13 cycles, and Megan Wortham with 14 cycles. Gage Eckert, 17 cycles, Curtis Schultz, 17 cycles, Chris Bachlet, 18 cycles, Ashley Feldyson, Second Business Center, 18 cycles. And then we got with 23 cycles, Brooke Reed, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, and Tyler Smith, who's Ashley Feldyson's husband. We have with 27 cycles, Chuck Wallace and Michelle Cahill and Anne-Marie Kellen. With 33 cycles, Marie Ottaway, 34 cycles, Cassie Jackson, 41 cycles, Shauna Valenta, 42, Amy Eckert, 47, Sydney Thompson, 49, my Second Business Center, 66 cycles, Kate Schultz, 120 cycles, Michelle Phillips, 125, Ashley Feldyson, 139 cycles, Beth Reelman, and with 150 cycles, myself and Andrea Wallace. All right, so that is the 2 recognition boards, the Success Club points and the team cycles. And now we're going to hop into the call. So I asked Kate to hop on here and chat because we always see her name on the Success Club leaderboard, and we're starting to see her name climbed the team cycle bonus leaderboard as well, which is really exciting. And she's also an accountant, which is near and dear to my heart because I used to be one. So Kait, thanks for hopping on here. Do you mind just kind of sharing a little bit about like where you're from and kind of how you got introduced to the Beachbody products and coaching?
Sure. Hello. It's actually month end at work today, so I'm literally just getting off. So here we are. But hi, I'm Kait. I am 32 years old. I am actually I'm a coach underneath Cassie Jackson. And I started Beachbody in August of 2017 after ignoring her for about 7 months of her constantly inviting me, which is my secret today. But I started in August 2017. I signed up as a discount coach, and I told her I wasn't going to keep anything, as we all say. And I told her I was going to keep the Shakeology. I wanted to be her worst customer. And it really didn't take long for me to absolutely fall in love with it. I'm actually a 365er times 3. I am obsessed with Shakeology. It's changed my life around completely health-wise. I dealt with a lot of stuff in my past with like addiction, and my like body was trash. So once I started, I did not stop. And that's kind of how I got into, I wasn't thinking about coaching whatsoever. Like I didn't even want to be on my own journey. And when I got into this, within like 2 weeks, I was doing core de force in my little apartment kitchen. And like I was just kickboxing. I never went to the gym before. I never did anything, but I felt so good. And when 80 Day Obsession was coming out, I believe that January of 2018, 80 Day Obsession was coming out, and I really needed something that I could control, like something that I could really rein in on with all of the shit that was going on in my life, all of my past issues that were bottling up. I was 35 pounds overweight. I was dealing with chronic migraines, anxiety. I was on tons of medications. And I really just needed something I could control. I went all into 80 Day Obsession. I lost 35 pounds. I got off my medications. I got into incredible shape. I felt good. I had this amazing accountability group I met my best friends in, who I'm still like best friends with today. And I just fell in love with everything. And Cassie and Ashley both had asked me to coach multiple times after seeing my transformation and seeing me show up through 80 Day Obsession, but I really wanted nothing to do with it. And I think it was mostly because I didn't understand it. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I had like an icky feeling around like the network marketing word, and just like showing up on social media was scary. And I really didn't know what it was. And I kept saying no and kept saying no. But people had watched me go through 80 Day Obsession. Like I was sharing before and afters on my Facebook. I didn't even have an Instagram then. I was sharing before and afters on my Facebook. I had people like asking me about it and just telling me that I inspired them. And guys, with like my past with like the whole like addiction aspect thing, coming out of that is like a big deal. I became like this like 1% of people, and I always wanted to like help people, like really see like, you can get out and get to the other side. But I never really had a good platform to do that. I tried like, I took my parents to like groups. I did things around the city, and I like made Facebook support groups and stuff, but I never felt like I was doing enough. And just seeing like people like say that I inspired them, I realized that this was like a platform where I could really like help a lot more people. So really when I started coaching, like that was literally my only goal. I was like, what, if I can help just a couple people just like know that there is another side to this and really feel incredible as I do now. And that's pretty much when I started getting into it, and the community really sucked me in, because I met like my best friends through there, and I didn't have like, when you come out of that kind of like phase of life, you don't have any friends. So meeting my best friends through this opportunity was huge. And that was so I really I would say I actually started coaching in July of 2018. But we all talk about like a second start date. I probably had my second start date that closer to 2019. I went from hitting Success Club 0 to Success Club 10. There was no in between. And then I never looked back. I've hit Success Club 10 for 31 months now. And my only secret through that really is consistency. I don't have like some big secret. My biggest superpower is consistency and just showing up, and even when nothing's happening. And that's literally what I've done since. Obviously, I've had a few more mindset shifts in between there, but that's kind of my background.
Awesome. So we were kind of texting earlier, and I was just kind of asking you about the mindset piece. What do you think it is besides like the consistency thing, as far as just your mindset, big picture with the business, that allows you to keep showing up when things aren't happening? Like you said, you keep showing up even when nothing's happening. What do you think is different with your mindset versus the 99% of people that fall off?
I think a big part of it, when I notice that I don't want to show up or I don't want to be consistent, it's because I'm not happy, which is like weird to say, but like for a while there, I was trying to show up as everybody else. I was not trying to show up as Kait. I was trying to do what everyone else was doing. I was trying to, show up on social media and show up in my conversations and show up in my groups and everything, and how I do show up into my business as how everyone else who I saw successful, how they were doing it. And it wasn't making me happy. So then when I would try to show up, I wasn't having fun with it. And then I'm not going to want to show up the next day because I wasn't having fun with it. And I kind of had this switch where it was like, I'm going to do what makes me happy in this business and what I started off with, and remember why I started. And I try to remind myself every single day why I started and what made me happy when I started Beachbody, and just remember that I'm here to bring that to them and to bring the joy, and that someone benefits from Kait, not from who I'm trying to be. So I kind of live by this every night on my stories. I do the same freaking boomerang of my Netflix show, but I also put on there, I want someone to tell me what made them smile today, what they did that makes them happy that day. And the responses have gotten like bigger and bigger, but that's kind of what I just try to remind everyone every single day is like, do what makes you happy that day. And it sounds so simple, but that's really changed my business because it's attracted a different sort of clientele to me, and it's also attracted just like a different sort of mental aspect and the way I show up myself. So
what is it that you think like that you do every day since becoming part of Beachbody that does bring that smile to your face?
Sure. The way I show up to my team, my challengers, they're honestly the bread and butter to my business. For a while there, I was so focused on bringing in, like I was like, I'm a Success Club 10 all-star legend. Like I need to keep that role. I need to keep bringing in new people. I need to keep, like I was looking at the Success Club board and I would see, we see those names like Bailey, she's a rock star. She's at Success Club 50. And I'm like, I need to be up there, instead of really focusing on what made me happy, which were the people that were sitting in my challenge group. Those girls that had already signed up with me that, were rocking it every single day and, having fun. And the girls on my team who were in the chat and they're like having, a really good day that day. Instead of focusing on them, I was so focused on everyone else that I needed to bring in to be on a board, that I started to lose the joy in it. So I think every single day, the first thing I do before anything else, obviously, is I work out at 5 a.m. But the first thing I always do is I check in on my challenge group and I see all of them lighting it up, and I check in on my team and see all of them lighting it up. And that sets the tone for my entire day, besides just focusing on me, focusing on those parts of my business that bring me joy.
Yeah, that brings the joy, and your challengers can feel that, and it starts to create those lifers instead of like a revolving door where people are buying something, getting in, and then they're kind of like, they don't feel like a part of something, and then they go out the door.
Yeah,
creating those lifers. Cool.
all of my coaches have come from my challenge groups. I don't sign any coaches that did not start in a challenge group. Never once. I'm sorry, I did once, and she didn't like fall in love. It's such a different feel when they went, for me, when it's someone that's not a part of Beachbody already. For me, everything has come from my challenge groups because they know that I'm here to stay. They know that I'm here for them. So
yeah, it's definitely a different feel trying to train a coach who doesn't have that customer experience versus training a coach who already has that foundation of the belief in the products. It's like night and day.
Right.
What's like the way you kind of approach and kind of have taught yourself to come back to falling in love with the journey you're giving your challengers versus just trying to sell a million different new people all the time. It's huge for the long-term vision of the business, because the long-term vision is to just not to sell a million things, but to create those 2 or 3 leaders, those people that you kind of lock arms with that want to do this thing with you. So is that something that you kind of like knew from the beginning, that this business was about finding those 2 or 3 great leaders that really wanted to create something big alongside you and wanted to kind of make this their lifestyle?
No, I didn't. Definitely not something I knew at first. I actually think you're one of the first people that told me that, but it didn't even make sense until, I don't know. For me, it didn't make sense until I actually saw it start happening. And I got one of those like leaders, and I got one of those rock stars, and she started building a team. I remember I went live on my team page because I'm like, this is what my CBC is for. Like I didn't understand like the volume potential and the way that, I just have sometimes I forget that they're my coaches. I have my 2 rock stars right now that I know are my lifers. And sometimes I forget that they're my coach. I'm like, I need to bring in like new coaches. Like, but then I'm like, they're rocking it. Like I have like 2 incredible coaches and so many people would wish for that. And I have to remind myself of that. But yeah, it's really cool to see as you get further into the business, how just like growing. I love working with I call them my grandbabies, but like my coaches, I love working with them. And then it's really cool to see them signing other coaches. Like I'm seeing like my team name is Team Impact, but seeing our leaderboard just have like a bunch of names that they're not personally sponsored by me is just like really cool.
What's like the mindset you try to teach your like new coaches that are kind of joining your team? I mean, obviously you're teaching them to hit Success Club, but what about like kind of the bigger picture goal?
So I kind of like give them the diamond mindset right away, because I tell them that I always tell them they have a team. They have a team and they are a leader already. I made Team Impact before I even had a coach. So I tell them, make a team name, get out there, talk about your team, even if you don't have one yet. Because I really know that I remember when I hit diamond, I think Cassie shouted me out, and one of my friends, actually, she's in Young Living, and she had texted me and asked me if I was quitting my job. And I'm like, no, I'm not quitting my job. But it was because I was showing up as if I was. Like, I was showing up as if I was, like, hitting, like, these big things, because I was talking about a team that I didn't even have yet, but it ended up being a team because I talked about it. I very much teach them to do more of a serving over selling type of mindset. So when I teach them to invite, when I show them my invites, and when I show them how I'm having conversations and stuff, I very much base it around giving value. I'm very big on giving value in your vitals instead of intensifying them, like consistency and value, rather than, sending out a million invites, and rather than following 500 people. For me, it's just been consistent value, intentional, vital behaviors every single day is what adds up to it. I'm a turtle, but honestly, depending on what your goal is, but I was a turtle in this business, but it's been really beneficial to me in the long run. But
yeah, turtle mindset. It's the best. It's the way to go. And I saw, so we're doing the BAT, the business activity tracker, the BAT challenge, kind of the March tracker challenge. And I saw that you wanted to like be a part of it. Is like having like a little simple 1-page document that has all the little activities we need to do as a coach, has that been kind of helpful for you and your team?
I live by the BAT. I was doing the BAT before we had one. And I remember I kept telling everyone, like, it wasn't a big thing. It was in the back office and I found it. And I'm like, guys, the BAT. And like, no one wanted to pay attention to me. And then one day Cassie popped up in the chat and was like, guys, you see this business activity tracker? And I'm like, and I've used it every single day since. I love that it went digital. And I think in my team, I have like a weekly drop for the BAT, but it doesn't no one else gets as excited as I do about it. So I was really excited to see that challenge, because I think having that, I hit diamond in a challenge like that. And one of my diamonds actually hit diamond at the same time of year last year during a challenge like that, to like show up with the BAT every single day. So I was really excited to have everyone be a part of that. But yeah, I live by that. Like I said, I'm very routine. I'm very structured. I know what I need to do, and I simplify it. This business is very simple. I make sure I get that done every single day in some form. And so I'm glad to see my coaches doing it now too, but we're very excited about that group.
Awesome. So speaking of simplifying with the business activity tracker, what are like maybe your like top tips for that the first few things on the tracker, like kind of sharing on social media? Like, is that something you teach your coaches right away, like how to get out of their comfort zone and start posting and using their stories?
Yeah, so in my training, after I go on about mindset, I just challenge them to just like take like a sweaty selfie or something, or just like talk about their workout for like 2 clips the first time before they even get out of training, just to kind of get them used to social media. But as far as showing up, I try to, when I talk about the BAT, I do simplify it, because in the amount of like intensity, because I think people look at it and they get overwhelmed. But like I said, I show up like with intention on it with every single activity. So I try to look at it, because I do this part-time. So in the beginning, I couldn't, when people were telling me like, you need to spend you know, you need to send 100 invites, you need to do this. Like that was overwhelming to me. So I focused more on like being intentional with it. So I try to tell them to like bring value to every, you know, if they're a nurse and they can only get on their stories for 4 slides a day, are you going to be intentional with those 4 slides? So, you know, instead of boomeranging your shake at the end of the day, like literally takes 2 seconds. I go to Google and I Google one of the superfoods and I just copy and paste the actual picture of like, of what a benefit that it does for you. Or giving a cue, like writing, you know, hearing your trainer and on your workout clip, giving a cue or something that they told you in the workout, like a cue, like an actual like tip for the workout. Actually like just giving value in what you're sharing instead of just like, assuming that people know things about it in the way that you show up.
Yeah. And I like the little, like, the consistent thing you do each day where you kind of say like, what's one thing that, one good thing that happened to you today, or one thing you're grateful for today, or something like that. It's
Yeah,
kind of,
being interactive with Instagram. Social media is fun if you have fun with it. Like being social is fun and people are more likely to interact with you on those kind of things and you're building those relationships and they look forward to that. I'm very routine. I literally do the same thing on my stories every single day, but it's people like look forward to it. Like I'm very routine, but I think they would notice if I veered off of it. They look forward to me getting up. I've had people, I've been like hungover in the morning and did not get up until like 10 a.m. and everyone, I've had people be like, where are you? Or I was worried about you because you didn't press play at 5 in the morning. So if you feel like you're doing the same thing every day, it's totally fine.
yeah. I think that's the superpower though, is that consistency. People need to watch that for a long period of time before they're finally ready to hop on board. You're from upstate New York, right? Like Rochester area?
Buffalo, actually.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
So what if for coaches that you know, say they've invited everybody they know, or they don't, you know, they live in a small town and they don't, and you know, they don't know anybody, and, or there's, you know, a virus going on and they can't go meet people. Like, how do you teach your new coaches to find new people?
That's really funny because I don't have anybody. I don't have a warm market whatsoever. I've never signed anybody that is a warm market. Every single person I have met through social, actually, I'm sorry, my CBC is my mom. So my spouse account is my mom. But other than that, it has all, not even my husband has signed up. He does my stuff, but literally I have just build relationships on social media, have fun with it. If you are running out of people to, if you don't have anyone to send an invite to or send some sort of message to, like I call any sort of message an invite, I count it as an invite because I kind of do those a little differently, but then you're not connecting as much as you need to. And that doesn't mean sending, you know, following 500 people. I mean, it can if you need to do that to get more people on your page, but really connecting, going through, like, you know, we tell everyone don't watch stories. I watch stories. I don't watch any coaches' stories. I have them all muted. All my coaches and any other coach in Beachbody, I have them all muted. But I go through and I intentionally watch my followers' stories. Or I'm sorry, the people that I'm following, their stories, and interact on them because they're going to follow you back. They're on there. They're putting stories onto their bubble thing for a reason. Interact on them. If I go into, I don't cold invite ever, but I do, went onto a training with Bob Helig or whatever, and he does like this love, serve, grow. He has this love, serve, grow mentality, and I kind of took something from it. So I go into my followers, and I kind of just send them a message just saying, you know, thank you for following along on my journey. It's really cool that you're here, and thank you for the support. And then I'm not inviting them to anything. I just say, if you ever need anything, you know, for health, for your fitness, for mindset, I'm always here. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. And then that's it. I don't invite them to anything. A bunch of people have said thank you. Some people ignore it, but I've noticed all of those people end up on my posts or my stories. And the one girl, she said, I don't even know how I started following you. Like, she obviously didn't remember following me. We had never connected. And then she said she liked my content and she ended up signing up last month. So if you don't feel like you have people like looking at your posts and stuff, get out there and talk to people. It doesn't have to be every message you send doesn't have to be an invite.
Right. With the people that you are like starting those conversations with,
Mm-hmm.
how did they like end up following you? Do you like go to the explore page and?
Oh, okay. So I do the followers. So I go to like a follower of mine that I really connected with, or usually a challenger of mine if I don't think they're going to coach. But I usually go to their one of their posts that I resonate with, go to someone that liked it. I kind of just like dig down from there. I mean, you can get lost. I go down the levels of that. I go to my followers. But I do use the Explore page. So I try to, my Explore page ends up being a bunch of memes because I'm a child, but I go to a lot of like things that relate to me. So I'm very like mental health driven. I'm very, and I find a picture that I like, and I just kind of, I find one person. So I don't go down, because if you go to like some of these like viral posts, you're going to find a bunch of people who already have a bunch of followers who probably aren't paying attention to if you're following them. So I just find one person on that post that I resonate with, that I like, I feel like not that I look like her, but I feel like we could be friends. And then I go to her stuff and I go into her page. And I kind of follow people from there. So
Okay.
it's not so much going to the Explore page for me and like following a bunch of people that like to post, because I find that that doesn't generate much back. But on top of that, the Insta algorithm works when you follow someone. They're going to show up on your feed like right away. Like you're going to start seeing their stuff right away. So right after I do a session, a work session where I'm kind of like following a bunch of people, once I do, my feed is now all of them, and I go down and I genuinely connect with them. So I watch their stories. I go down and I like any post, comment authentically, and that gets some follow backs. So don't just stop it at just following people,
And then what do you
making that
do?
connection.
What's the next step when you see someone that follows you back?
I don't even look at that, honestly.
You don't, like, when you see like new followers, you don't really, you
No,
just,
not really.
you look more like to see who's watching your stories.
Yeah, so I look at, I try to make sure, so I don't like go into it. I don't thank anyone for following me or anything like that, because I know for me, I would, if someone did that to me, I would kind of be like, eh. Like I try to think about how I would like to be approached, and I know that I would feel weird about that. I also don't do like the, like 5 photos and comment on 3 of them, because I feel like if someone did that to my page, I'd be like, what do you want? It doesn't feel genuine to me. So I try to be as genuine as I can about it. So when I do get a new follower, I don't really like notice, but I just make sure I'm going into who's following me every week and I'm connecting with them in some way. Like I choose, so tonight, actually, after this, I'm going on to the Elevate Power Hour, and I'm on the letter B. And I'm not going through and I'm not cold inviting the letter B. That's not what I'm doing. I'm going in there and I'm looking to see if I've ever sent them a message before. And I'm doing that. I call it a love, serve, grow message that we call it in the team. It's just kind of like a reaching out, like, thank you for following me. I don't know how long they've been following me for, but I kind of just thank them for following me. If you ever need anything, health, fitness, or mindset, I'm always here. And kind of reach out that way. Or I see if they need a follow up and like follow up on their page. So I kind of don't let any followers go unhidden, but I don't check them like right away. I feel like that would drive me nuts. I have anxiety, so.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's a good one where you kind of just, you go through the letters of the people that are following you. Like tonight, you're going to do B.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that's following you, and their Instagram name starts with the letter B, you're going to say something like, thanks for, following me. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you, like, I'm here for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, depending on what we've talked. So, I mean, if we've talked in the past, then depending on how like recent it was. So if it was just like last month, I'll send them a follow-up. If I've never met them before, then that's what they'll get, just a thank you for following along in my journey. Your support really, truly means the world to me. If you ever need anything health, fitness, or mindset, please reach out. I'm always here to help. And then if it's something where like maybe we had talked in the past, but it's been like months, then I'll go onto their page and I'll engage in some way so that to kind of remind them that I exist, and then see if they can come back to my page a bit.
Gotcha. Cool. And then and then that kind of naturally leads into inviting.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I invite, the only people I invite are people that are watching my stories and on my posts. And then I don't let my coach office go unlooked. So I do that too.
Your coach what?
My coach office.
You always check your coach office every day. Is that right? Yeah.
Every Monday I email all my leads with the option to upgrade to a challenge pack, as well as my bod renewals. So I make sure a lot of points come from those leads. They don't know what they're buying on the site. So if you're getting leads and you're not utilizing them and like talking to them, really do. A lot of them don't answer me, but if you really put yourself out there, like my email literally says like, hi, I'm Kait. Yes, I'm a real human. I'm your Beachbody coach. So they kind of just like, I kind of just break the ice a little bit and just let them know. I give them, a link to my group, and then I put in the graphic down there, like, I know you signed up with a year or, 3 months, but there is this option where you get all of this. I'm not sure if you knew about it, if you want to take advantage of it.
Love that. That's cool. What do you do, like monthly challenge groups or like just an ongoing challenge group? What does that kind of look like for you?
I was doing ongoing. I switched it this year or end of last year to monthly just because I felt like when people saw that there was, 200 people in a group or something, but yet only 10 people were sharing every day, it made more people less likely to share. So I do start a fresh one every month, and I use bot groups, and it's really easy. So we just started another one, obviously March 1st. So at the end of the day on Sunday, I was able to just click invite all of my past group, and then whoever wants to come to the next one, they can click accept or they can not come. But they usually come back to it. And then it's just like a smaller group and everyone's interacting then.
Love that. And then anything that you try to like teach your coaches or you do yourself, like to make sure that your challengers are having that really great experience?
Yeah, we kind of all, so they all started in my challenge group, so they know how we roll, I guess. But I always do leaderboards the same way we do team leaderboards. I do challenge group leaderboards. I recognize them for number of workouts they're doing, the number of times they log their shake. I'm also, now that they have the nutrition in there too, how many times they drop their nutrition tracker. And every 2 weeks I do a giveaway. I put them all into a hat and I do a giveaway. I make sure I check in on my challengers all the time, and my coaches know that I do that, but I have really enforced bod groups on them just because of how easy it makes that follow-up so easy. Like going in there at the end of the week, you see they didn't press play, you can send them a quick message right from there. Because I know a lot of my coaches are surprisingly very younger than me, and they're like in college, they're super busy and they get overwhelmed having to follow up on all these challengers and do all this stuff. And I'm very big on work smarter, not harder. I'm like, utilize the tools that are in front of you, make the follow-up process easier, make the tracking easier. Don't have to reinvent the tracking wheel. It's all right there for you. Like, use it.
Right. Exactly. And then what's like the process for then introducing some of the challengers to coaching?
So I actually just switched that up. I actually I was doing, I don't know, I wasn't falling in love with like any sort of coach intro that I was doing ever. And I think I finally found a way that I like. But I was doing webinars. Most of the times it was just a personal invite. And then, to a challenger. It's a lot easier for me because they're all coming from my challenge group. But I was finding that no one was really showing up to webinars. Like everyone's on Zoom right now. So I feel like no one really wants to get on another Zoom meeting. So I made a separate coach Instagram page. And it's not, I've done them in the past where it's just like a sneak peek where I went live a couple times, but I actually made an entire info page with like every question that I had and every question that one of my coaches has had that I hear all the time. So it kind of like breaks it out into pretty little blocks. And then I went live. I just did it this past weekend. I went live in it over 3 days. And they save as IGTV, so that now they're staying there. So whoever's still in it will still be in it. So I'm just going to delete those videos. I'm going to redo it every single month because it went really well. I have 4 working coaches, and I've never signed that money up in one like coach info session before. So I think they like seeing it all laid out, like no BS, I guess. Like not waiting for the next video to tell them what's up, I guess.
Right. And so what's like when did you kind of start to look at the team volume? When did you start starting to look from, okay, like Success Club's important, like that's what everyone talks about. I need to find customers and give my challengers a really great experience and make sure I'm really pouring into them. And then when did you kind of start to really look at, okay, like there's another side to this business that comes from building a team of coaches and developing coaches, like you call them like your grandchildren, like your coaches, like when did that shift start to kind of happen?
My strong leg flipped. So I started to realize that might not make sense to a lot of people, but my strong leg flipped.
That's a good way to get you to pay attention.
I was like, oh, I panicked.
Yeah, when your legs, like when you have a strong leg and you're building the weak leg and your weak leg becomes so strong that it catches up to your strong leg as far as like how much volume is being created.
Yeah, so that's not a good way to start paying attention to it. Pay attention to it before that. I literally, because I was bringing in these team cycles, but like then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, like what happened? I'm not cycling this week. It was because my legs had flopped, but that was actually a good thing. I was building such a strong business that my weak leg had overtaken my strong leg. And then that's when I found out about the second business center. And then it all just kind of like fell into place from there, that I was like, wow, this is much bigger than just selling a couple challenge packs and getting, commission that way. And it's been really cool because, during the, my husband's not working right now. It's been like quarantine and stuff like that. So having this, like, 2020 was a rough year, and my points weren't as high as they like always are, like skyrocketing, and I didn't sell as much but I built this really incredible team. We got to premiere 2021, and it was, that's where I saw like my paychecks coming in, was when I hit 2-star and I saw the double volume. And my mom started, I went to my mom's house. I went to my mom's house a couple of weeks ago because the 1099 forms came in, and I'm like, hey mom, happy retirement. And I gave her all the money her account had made. Because she didn't like realize that it was actually making money. I'm like, yeah, you were making money. And it was just really cool. That felt really good to do that, honestly. So it started to make sense. It took me a while to get there, but it's been really cool to see the potential that comes with. If you guys have any goal, it's to get to 2-star for sure.
So you're building your mom's, both of her legs?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's getting the income from it?
So she's just drinking Shakeology over there, doing 21-day fix on repeat. And
that sounds so familiar. My parents do 21-day fix on repeat.
So like she was funny when I went in there and I showed her. I was like, I'm going to send you this, because it was going into my bank account. But I gave her the money. I showed her and she was like, are you going to get in trouble for this? I'm like, why would I get in trouble? No. I'm like, she's funny. But yeah, she retired. Both her and my dad retired last year. So it's a little something. Like I said, my past is kind of sketchy and my parents had to deal with a lot. So it's a little something that's been really cool for me to be able to give back to them. So I'm building her.
That's awesome. So what's like the big goal with Beachbody, your team, the income, all that?
Well, I am shooting for elite this year, but I'm not really big on like big shiny things. It takes me a while to get excited about them. I'm weird about that. But and everyone asks me, they want me to say, I want to be a full-time coach, and I do. Do I want to quit my job? And I'm very routine. I'm very structured. I found at the beginning of quarantine that I wasn't getting as much done when I had the whole time in the day, because I was just like procrastinating my life away. I do very well working in pockets of my day. So my big vision is to be able to leave this job that does not bring me joy. I hate looking at spreadsheets all day. My brain is like fried right now. But to be able to do something, to be able to coach and make enough money with coaching, full or part-time, where I'd be able to do something more like volunteer work that, makes me happy, brings me joy. Be able to give my parents money to live off of while they're taking care of my grandmother, and get out of Buffalo, honestly. So those are my bigger goals.
What's the income goal for this year?
I would like to say 6 figures, but I would like to. I think it would be possible.
Let's go.
I would like to. I know. It would be possible. It would be possible. I am really excited because the reason I think it's possible is because my team is building incredible things, and I'm seeing leaders pop up. And I mean, I'm sure you see in the BAT group, like all these girls requesting in from my team, and it's like, I don't even know where half you guys came from. So I think if I shifted my mindset in 2020 to really focusing on team. And once I started doing that, that's where like things started, like income started happening. So I think it is more possible now that I'm focused more on teams rather than bringing in new challengers. But I would like to surpass my full-time income, not match it. I want to surpass it so that I feel good about it.
Yeah, I hear that. And you got that long-term escalator mindset. So
Yeah.
even if 6 figures doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. What you said, you shifted your mindset last year from just selling challenge packs to having a team mindset towards your goal. You're not just your kids, your coaches, but their coaches, your grandkids. What would be your advice for like a coach that has been doing pretty well with selling challenge packs and has been signing coaches, but they haven't like built a team? Like what are some like things they could start to put into play that you started doing?
Yeah, honestly, that's like the diamond mindset. Like, the team is where it happens. And if you don't have a team, it's because you didn't make a team. And that's what I literally tell everyone is make a team name, make a team. The biggest mistake I made was hanging out with my upline too long. I hung out in Cassie's page. I hung out in Ashley's page. I was adding, my coaches into my upline's page. And I didn't even have my own team page. So I had to like shift my focus and realize that my people were signing up with me, not my upline. And they were signing up with, a team, and I had to bring that, even if I didn't know what I was doing, get out there and do like the, make a coach information page, even if it's weird. I thought this was going to be weird the past weekend when I did, and ended up being great. If you fall, you get back up. But I guess just, I don't know. If you look at, I think about, all those like grandbaby coaches and like think about everyone, like think about yourself or anyone out here with like Pat. Like imagine if Pat didn't make a team and like how many people wouldn't be here today. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like a mindset shift that I had of like how many people I could truly make an impact with. My team name's Team Impact, but just the way that I like my why for this business was really like making a difference and having a big platform. And the only way to have a big platform is not by, you can only do so much as one person. You can only sell so many challenge packs. You can only sell so many bod subscriptions. But if you build that team, you're able to make such a bigger impact than you can even imagine with just you. And that makes me happy and brings me joy and what lights me up for this business. So I remember that and try to focus on, I listened to something that's called like tap rooting. We work like through your coaches down to like their coaches. And that's how you truly make an impact.
So you're taking that time to like really connect with your coaches and then their coaches.
Yeah. My team cup is all like my grandbabies. Like
it's cool.
I know that my coaches know what they're doing, and I try, I think we get stuck too much like running with our runners when which we should, but they already know what they're doing. So I try to, and sometimes they're scared to pass that down to, their coach. So it's a nice little segue for me to kind of jump in there and kind of give that confidence to their coach while they're still figuring it out probably,
Yeah, I love that. So we got a question in the chat, and then if any of you guys have any questions, you guys can put it in the chat. But it looks like someone asked, so are you following them right away, or sometimes do you comment on posts or stories and then follow afterwards?
I always follow right away. And then once I follow them, they're going to show up organically on my feed, like on the main feed and up in the story bubbles. They're going to be the first ones there. So then I comment and engage on them afterwards.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Kait? This is going to be fun to see you continue to grow Team Impact and 6 figures. I know it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And get out of Buffalo. It sounds like that's part of the goal too. Where do you think you would move to?
My husband says Florida, but I don't say Florida. I say somewhere in between. Florida's too hot. Carolinas would be nice.
The Carolinas? All right. So,
yeah.
So you're sticking to.
We have a question.
Yeah, East Coast. Oh, how do you approach leads with purchasing a challenge?
How do you, yeah, okay, yeah.
Is that the question? Sorry.
Leon has a question on how do you approach leads with purchasing a challenge pack?
I can share the email with Pat or with the team page if you want, but so you can see where your leads, what they bought. Sometimes if you can't see it, sometimes it's weird and you can't see it, but if I see they bought a year, so I have a graphic that shows the upgrade. It's the same upgrade, the same graphic I would send to people whose bot is renewing. And I just show like you have the potential, within your first 30 days, if you want to utilize this and get so much more bang for your buck. I know you probably weren't sure how to navigate the site. And then I kind of just give them the graphic and give them the option there. But I can share the exact email if you want me to.
Yeah,
I don't mind if you use it.
if you could like maybe just share it in Team Boom Coaches.
Sure.
Well.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. How many of your team is going to be at Summit?
Hopefully we're going, right?
Yeah.
If they have it, if it's on right now, but.
So we had 9 people at my Airbnb last year, and every one of them is going to this one. So I think one stopped working the business, but I'll see if I can get her back just for Summit. I know she bought her ticket. But about eight of us then. That's what my PS. I don't even know about the grandbabies yet.
So eight PS coaches, and then then you got your grandchildren that are going to come.
Yeah, which I don't think we talked too much about it because a lot of them signed up in 2020, and I think a lot of people didn't talk about Summit as much, which stinks. But
Yeah, I don't know about this.
It's insane.
Be interesting.
Well, who knows if it's going to be on, but it's supposed to be in St. Louis.
Pat, you should share a little bit of how many people went to your first summit and how it's grown.
Yeah, I think the first summit was I just went by myself. And it was fun. Like, I didn't have anybody from my downline go, but then the next year there was, I think, like 5 of us or so, 5 or 6. And then the next year there was like 25. And when I went from like having like 6 people to having 25 from the whole downline, my income went from like, I think 15, 20, 25,000 I made that year to then the year that 25 coaches went to Summit, my income jumped to like 75,000. And then the next year, I think there was like 50 coaches, and my income jumped to like 150,000 that year. So that's kind of a good gauge to look at, like, all right, how many coaches from my downline are getting to the annual event? And you can there's kind of a correlation there between what you're going to earn and how many coaches from your downline get to Summit. So,
you know what's funny about that?
yeah.
I haven't been to one live event, and it's actually very correlated to what you're saying, because when I was hanging out at Emerald, not doing anything with my business, I skipped Summit. I made up some lame excuse why I couldn't go because I was socially anxious. I didn't want to go. And I was chilling out at Emerald. And then I did get my ticket to Summit, and I was hanging out at Diamond, not doing anything. And I didn't go again. I don't even remember the reason why. And then when I started building a team, I finally said, I'm going to do this. And I earned the trip. I paid for the trip to Mexico. I paid for the trip to Punta Cana. I paid for the trip to Summit. Obviously, I got us like an Airbnb there and everything. And obviously none of it happened. Leadership, I was supposed to go to Vegas. All this stuff happens, and it's kind of like a in my face, like,
Oh,
Kait, you didn't go. I know, right? But I still took all my girls that were going to go to Summit. We went to the Adirondacks, and we got like an Airbnb. So I kind of put on a Summit for us. And I'll tell you, that is when my team blew up, so even though it wasn't Summit, it was some sort of like virtual Summit event that we had together as a team with everyone. People came in from Boston and stuff. And that's when Team Impact really started growing then. So live events are definitely, I kicked myself in the butt there. So
When was that event you did with the 8 or 9 of you in Adirondacks?
this past, what should have been New Orleans.
So it was like June, like this summer, July or so.
Yeah, so no one could come in from like the South, but like our East Coast family. So anyone on the East Coast, we were able to go and went to the Adirondacks. So it was kind of like secluded and stuff. So yeah, it was the actual weekend. So we actually did like the Summit trainings and everything there, just in our Airbnb.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And we did a group mountain hike and stuff. It was really cool.
Crazy. It's crazy what happens when you have those little get-togethers. As far as like people's fire and their belief in the business,
Yeah.
It's an event-driven business.
And we know that if Summit's canceled this year, we're gonna do something similar. So
That's a great idea. A little backup plan.
yeah.
And the Adirondacks is a perfect place to do it, especially in the summer. Awesome. Good stuff. Upstate New York representing. This was awesome, Kait. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me.
Sharing with us. We'll keep seeing your name on the Success Club board and the team cycle.
The volume board.
The volume board. That's the big board. That's the one.
I heard one of my coaches' names on there for the first time today. I texted her really quick. I'm like, you're on the volume board. That's a big deal.
The big board, the volume board. Yeah, it's funny. Us accountants, we love that volume board. We're all about the volume.
I do.
Good stuff. All right, let's do a big boom on 3 here. If you guys want to unmute yourself before Kait goes and hops on Ashley's Power Hour so she can connect with all her followers that start with the letter B. Buffalo Bills, my sister said, next year, Super Bowl. All right, guys, let's give her a big boom on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Boom!
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks,
Thank
Kate.
you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Great job.
great call.
Thank
Great
you.
call.
Thank you.
See you guys.
So,